forget things too. The best thing about you guys being here is that you want to be here. This is not a class where you have to be here. You signed up and wanted to be here because you want to learn something. And my goal today is not really to tell you how to run a business, or to, maybe you're going to find out after today that running a business is not for you because it's not for a lot of people. But what you're probably going to find out is if you can just take 1 or 2 tidbits from this, that's really my goal here today. And it's going to be pretty informative, where I'm going to have you guys interact with me a lot because I want to learn from you just like you're going to be learning from me, hopefully. Before I start, I wanted to go over a couple people that I brought with me. I figured just in case nobody showed up, I'd have at least 5 people with me to eat all the pizza. So I'll introduce them one at a time. The first one I have is Joe Kilgannon. He's my Vice President of Operations. Say hello, Joe. Hello. Joe loves public speaking. I scared him. I said, when I get there, I'm just going to say it's all about you and throw you up here. Joe's been with me for how many years? Over 20 years. Joe and I are childhood friends. And it's nice to work with your best friend and to see him every day and, you know, be able to go through the highs and the lows. And Joe and I have been through a lot of things together. He's somebody that I really could not have done what I have done without him. And part of being a business owner is really having good people around you. So thank you, Joe, for all you've done. I appreciate it. I couldn't even pay him what he was worth, so don't even try. Next, I have Samantha Pratt. She's, I don't know what her title is, but I'm going to call her my little bit of everything person. We initially hired Sam. How long have you been with us? A little over 2 years? Sam called me, and it was probably one of the best phone calls I've ever gotten. The amount that Sam's been able to contribute to my business venture has been insurmountable. She came for one job, and we have her doing now a lot of graphics work. She's very artistic and one of the most brilliant minds of people as far as artistic vision. So I really appreciate her, and she's somebody who, she's not going to be an MBV forever. She's going to continue to work with us, but she's got other visions and dreams as well, and I'm really excited to see what she comes up with. I think she's going to be a huge success. So thank you, Sam. Next I have Eugene. He's our Vice President of Technology. Eugene's responsible for the technology that we provide our customers. Eugene worked for me as a sales rep how many years ago? 15 years ago. Worked for me as a sales rep. Wasn't the best sales rep, but he's a fantastic technology wizard, and I consider him, his name is Eugene, I call him Eugenius. So I want to thank him. With his technology, our company has really been able to expand and go to the next level. Next I have John Hillis. He's one of our senior marketing consultants. You've been with us how long, John? Year and a half. John has taken the reins, and when you talk about success and watching work ethic, John is the embodiment of that. And watching the way that he works, if there's anyone in this company that works as I feel as hard as I do, he's right up there with me. And that's what it takes to really be successful, is to put that type of effort in. And then we have Thomas. How long have you been with us, Thomas?
Close to a year now.
About a year. He's also a senior marketing consultant. He's here. He's on his way up towards John. He's here to hopefully learn some stuff as well. So I just wanted to introduce them and thank them for coming as well. So thank you guys for coming with me. I really appreciate it. All right, so I sat in the seat just like you guys. I'm a graduate of Suffolk Community College as well. So you can just, I know there's a stigma sometimes. When I went there, people tell you you're only going to Suffolk. What kind of college is that? I know a lot of people that graduated from Suffolk that did very well. So never let anyone make you feel less than because you're at a community college. What's going to define you is not where you went to school, it's what you do with what you learn. My graduating year was 1902 though, so a little bit a while ago. What I first wanted to go through, and I want to ask you guys as well before I kind of get into the presentation. Most of you guys, who here wants to start a business? Okay, because not everyone in business class wants to start a business. Some people want to work for somebody. But do a lot of you have interest, obviously, in starting a business? And what kind of business does somebody want to start? Do you have any ideas or not yet? No. Does anyone have an idea of a business they want to start? Brandon.
E-commerce and social media.
You're in the right field, my friend. Technology. That's where it's going. So you want to try to find something that you're interested in, but for the people here who are not sure about starting a business or not sure what they want to do, the worst part about when I started high school and college is they kept asking me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I don't know about you, does everyone here know what they want to be when they grow up? I'm still not sure, and I'm 47. Yeah. So don't be worried when you're in college and you're like, well, what do you want to be? You have to pick a major, you have to do this. The idea is to get your degree, and then you can kind of figure it out from there. Don't be so worried about labels. So that's why I went for a business degree. It's not that I thought I would be good at business. I just figured that was kind of generic and I could work for any company. So you want to be careful about not being too caught up in that. Has anyone here ever had a business before? Even if it was like, mowing lawns. What have you done?
I sell sports memorabilia. I also do affiliate marketing.
Okay, good. And what are some of the pros that you found from running a business?
It's your own time. You work on your own boss.
Okay, and what's some of the cons?
You deal with a lot of idiots.
All right, well, bleep that part, Sam. Customer's always right. No, they're not. There's tons of pros and cons, and sometimes the same pros of running a business are the same as the cons. Number one is people say, you can make your own schedule, you can work as much as you want. But that's also a con because guess what? If you own the business, do you think you're going to be working 2 hours a day? I've been in business for how long? I'll give you an idea of my day yesterday. I woke up around 5 o'clock, 5:30. I knew how to prepare for this, so I started jotting some notes down. 7 o'clock, I looked it over, took my dog out, left for work. Got to work, worked all day. Him and I, CEO, I'm vacuuming, he's vacuuming the office, I'm mopping the floor. This is how glamorous running a business is. I got home around 8 o'clock. My wife said, why are you not paying attention to me? I said, I still have work on the mind. I think I went to bed around 12 o'clock, woke up again at 5 o'clock, ready to go. So yesterday was about a 17-hour work day, and that's probably, I don't want to say that's a typical day, but that's not an uncommon day. So running a business, yes, you can make your own hours, but guess what? You're going to be working a hell of a lot longer than if you worked for somebody else. So some of the pros of running a business are the same as the cons. You can make as much as you want. Well, you can also make nothing. So there's risk and reward. The people who are going to do well in business are the people that are okay with that kind of risk. So we'll talk about a little bit, instead of getting through every pro and con, you guys know that stuff. I want to go through a little bit about my situation, how I grew up, and how did I get here today. I was born in 1969, so a while ago. I grew up, my mom and dad were married, and when I was 5 years old, my dad came and said to my mom, hey, I want to get a divorce. So that's not really that uncommon. More people than not get divorced now. But back in the 70s, if somebody got divorced, it was a little bit of a different situation because there was only one person working. So when there's only one person working, that means that my mom could not afford to support us. So we had to move from our house, and we had to move to an area that was not really that great. I felt bad for my mom because she really had no skills other than to just be able to, do menial labor, work at a factory putting stuff together. And I watched her struggle and really have a hard time trying to raise us kids. My dad left, and my mom and dad loved me, and I was lucky that I had supportive parents, but the financial aspect wasn't there. So we moved to another area. I was, went from kind of a middle class to a little bit below that. And I'm glad that it happened because it kind of set me up for who I am today and let me see that the struggles are going to make the rewards that much better. When I was 6 years old, we moved. And I remember when my dad was leaving the house, and I hope he doesn't listen to this recording because it's something that to this day still hurts my heart. I remember asking him as a 5 or 6 year old when he was leaving, Daddy, are you ever going to come back? And he said, I don't think so. To this day, I still feel that. And that kind of pain as a child is something that's difficult to get over. So we moved to another place. My mom was a single mom. I have an older sister and a younger brother. My sister helped raise us the best that she could, but she was a teenager, so she really couldn't. We went to school, and I don't know if you guys remember, some of the older people may. I don't know if they even have them anymore. There was designer jeans back then. Sergio Valente, Jordache, Sassoon. If you did not have these, you were nobody. I mean, nobody. So my mom scraped up enough money to buy me one pair of Sergio Valentes. They fit perfect in September. Only pair I had. So I wore those, wore them every day because kids couldn't tell. I just keep wearing the same clothes. I gotta be cool, I'm 7 years old. So I'm wearing them. I think I was probably in 4th or 5th grade. I was 3rd grade at this time. And by January, those were now, I've grown a little bit. So I would hear, hey, Stridiron, the flood's over. As a kid, when you're picked on and bullied like that, it's very difficult. We also couldn't afford nice sneakers, so I used to have these sneakers they were called Jocks, J-O-X. And I'll never forget, everyone had Pumas and Nikes and Adidas. I had Jocks, and people would make fun of your shoes. To make matters even worse, when I went to school, I would try to eat, I would either not eat lunch or I'd be the last one on the lunch line because unfortunately my mom couldn't afford to buy us lunch, so we got free lunch. So the way it worked back then when you had free lunch is you go to the end of the line, make sure no one's looking, last name Stridiron. The lady would look on the list, free lunch, check off. Now, if you're trying to impress a girl, come on, it ain't working. Also, to make matters even worse, I got there, remember the first day I got to the end of the line, said my name, ooh, I'm sorry, chocolate milk doesn't come for free lunch, only regular milk. Things like this would happen, and it really hurt my confidence, and I actually thought I was less than nothing. I got in a lot of trouble. I was in fistfights almost every day in school. In addition to that, I was defacing property. I was throwing rocks at the train. I just was lashing out because I don't know if I was angry or so much just damaged in that I felt like I wasn't worth anything because everyone in my life, other than my parents, told me I wasn't worth anything. So luckily, by a stroke of luck and very good fortune, my mom got remarried and to my stepdad, and he had a job, so we were able to move out of that neighborhood, luckily. And that's when I met Joe. We moved to Walnut Avenue in Ronkonkoma, if anyone's from Ronkonkoma. And from there, my life started to change. Joe can tell you I still was not the best behaved kid. I'd get into a lot of trouble. I didn't mind mixing up and fighting just because I felt like I had to a lot of times in my life.
Mostly his brother.
Yeah, mostly we just beat up my brother. To tell you a funny story, we would play hockey. We'd play hockey in the street, and my brother'd be goalie. If he let up a goal, I'd be so mad I'd run after him to try to beat him up because he let up a goal in street hockey. Chase him down the street. So Joe is first hand to this, and Joe's probably like, this guy's never going to amount to anything. This guy's out of his mind. Luckily, I got through high school, went to college. I went to Suffolk Community. I went to the location in Selden. There I met my wife, who, thank God, she's kept me grounded because I have a little bit of a dangerous streak where I like to take chances, and she doesn't, so it kind of balances us a little bit. But we went there. I ended up marrying her. I went on my honeymoon, and this is where my life really started to change. What happened is I was online at a cruise ship, and we were about to eat dinner. And as we're about to eat dinner, a gentleman walks up behind me with his wife. He was on his honeymoon. His name was Darren Ginsburg. And I'm going to give this to him so he knows. Darren Ginsburg was starting a business, and him and I just started talking online. It was just a total freak accident. There was 10,000 people on the ship, and somehow I just ran into him. Sat there, and he started telling me, hey, I'm selling these credit card machines. I ride a motorcycle to the appointments, and I'm making all this money. I live in Southern California. Here I am. I did have a job in Manhattan. I graduated with a business degree. I went to Dowling College that no longer exists. So technically, I guess I'm not a college graduate anymore. Yeah. Thank God I still have that 2-year degree from Suffolk. So now I technically only have an associate's, I guess. But anyway, I'd had a normal job in the city, working for a company, 200 people, just like I thought it would, because I never felt I was that kind of person that could be out in front leading people. I felt like, I'm better in the back just doing the work, and I'll be a great worker, and everything's fine. This guy believed in me and said, listen, from speaking to you, I feel you have what it takes to be successful in business. He wasn't making any money. He was selling these credit card machines on a motorcycle. So I decided that since I had no kids, I didn't have a mortgage, I didn't have any car payments, that I wanted to go out to California to speak to him and see what this was all about. So about 3 months later, after we got done on our honeymoon, we went out there. And I remember going to his house. He brought me to his office. My wife stayed with his wife and hung out for the day. And he started showing me what he was doing. I was like, man, this guy's really, you ever run into those people that just have that kind of energy about them and you just gravitate towards them? That is this guy. You felt an energy around him. People wanted to be by him. He had something in him. I can't even say what it is, but he had some type of energy that made people gravitate towards him. And I wanted that. I'm like, man, this guy's got the world by the butt. This guy can kill it. And at the time, he was not. So I started figuring out in my mind, how many of these credit card machines would I need to sell in order to cover what I was making in Manhattan every day? Taking the train, taking the subway, trying to work my way up and to be something. Never thinking I'm going to lead something, but maybe I'll at least support myself. That was my goal. So I figured out the number was 3 terminals I need to sell a month. Come back home. My wife comes from a family of educators, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's a steady income. You have some stability, you have benefits, you have all that stuff. So when I came back and I told them, listen, I'm thinking of leaving my steady job in Manhattan that I went 4 years to school for to sell credit card machines out of my house. Well, you can imagine that the looks I got from them. This guy is out of his mind. Why did my daughter marry him? This guy's insane. I knew it all along. All these different things came in their mind. And I just kept telling my wife, I said, I have to try this. I think I can do it. I really think I can. I didn't know if I could because I never really had the confidence because, again, when I was younger, I was always told that you don't have nice shoes, you can't afford this, you're not as good as you can be. So I didn't feel that I could, but someone else believed in me and said, I think that you can. So I went in, put in my 2 weeks notice. Boss was shocked because I had been there only 3 months. I'm sorry, I had been there about a year, but in the first 3 months I was there, of 200 people, I was already employed with a month. But I saw from being there that the only way I was ever going to make money in this company is by putting time in. It didn't matter what kind of job I did. They were paid on how long they were there. You're here 8 years, you make this much. You're here 1 year, you make this. We don't care how much work you do, you're gonna be stuck. This is how you're gonna move along. I don't know about you, I don't like that. So my idea was like, I'm gonna try something on my own. If it doesn't work, hey, at least I gave it a shot. Needed to do 3 credit card terminals. First week I did 5, 1 week. Working out of my house using my home phone. I invested $100 to see if this would work. $100 because I didn't have any money at the time. We had an ingenious idea. We were marketing to new businesses who would need credit card service before people really knew about how that worked with the credit card machines. We came up with this flyer. The flyer said, protect your business from extinction with a dinosaur on it. Call us and get credit cards today. People would just call, we got this dinosaur flyer. We need to get this credit card service. That dinosaur thing made us so much money. People would try to replicate it, copy it, they couldn't. We had trademarked it so they couldn't use that. And it would just say, protect your business from extinction, call us today. With a dinosaur, well, wait a second, I gotta open it up. People would call us, we'd go out there, we'd try to sell them right to their face. Hey, listen, this is the credit card machine, this is how it works. And to give you an idea, the company that I had worked for, or that I had started, but I was an independent sales rep, we had 1,500 sales reps in the company. Of the 1,500, I was usually ranked number 1 or 2, usually in the top 3 every single month. So, and what was surprising about that is that we were selling it for way more than everyone else because I was able to build the value in what I was selling. I wasn't selling it on cost. You never want to sell your product or service on cost because it will become a commodity like milk. You want to have something different. You want to build the value in what you do. And if you can do that, you'll be able to charge more money than you can even spend. So that was something that I learned. And what happened is over time, we started doing better and better and better. At one point we had, our company, my New York office, merged with the California office. I sold my share to them to become part of a bigger thing. We're gonna go public, the .com thing, we're gonna make so much money. I was 26 years old and I was making almost $400,000, and this is late 90s, probably. Didn't even, from kid who came from nothing. Couldn't even understand how this could be possible. Spending money that I should have been saving. It could never end. This is me, I've arrived. Built our company up to $30 million in sales, valued at $100 million. I was the 4th charge of the company, and I ran the New York office. I had 400,000 shares at 20 cents exercise price. When we were gonna go public, when I was 29, that was gonna equate to about $8 million. Now, if I had $8 million, I may or may not be here right now. Unfortunately, what happened is 9/11 happened. The economy and all the e-commerce stuff, not that it took a dive, but what happened was our financing that we were getting to people would be able to finance these credit card terminals. The company went out of business. And unfortunately, the way our business plan was set, that was about 85% of our revenue at the time. So we were scrambling. I think we had $10 million in the bank. And every month I'd get the new bank statement. Shit, we're down, now we're 8 million, we're 7. We had to sell the company, Now, somebody had invested $30 million in our company. I chose not to take any of that in lieu of, I'd rather have 400,000 shares of stock. Because we're gonna be public, we're gonna be so rich, I'm gonna be 30 years old, I'm gonna be on the beach in the Bahamas somewhere, I'm never coming back. Working 80 hours a week to the point where the CEO was emailing me saying, get off the computer at 3 a.m., you're gonna blow yourself out. But I put everything in my life into this and it didn't work. We ended up selling the company for $24 million. Unfortunately, 30 million of it was already promised to somebody else. So does anyone know what those 400,000 shares were worth? See this? Zero. I actually helped sell the company knowing that I was going to be fired, and my only thing that I had to ask them is, please, please, when you do this, give me back my office. I want to take it back. I want to do it again. I want to do it myself. I want to do it for me. I don't want to be a part of a huge thing where other people are in control of my success. And they agreed, and the only reason I stayed on was that they said that they would give me back my office. So I'm here telling them how great our company is, knowing that they're going to fire me. But I was okay with that. I was going to get my company back. Joe stayed with me. We cut the fat. We got rid of a lot of people that we didn't need. People that were just making checks that shouldn't have been making checks. Because when your corporate companies get big, there's a lot of fat. We cut all that. We started running lean. Things started going good again. We started building the company up again. Then about, 10 years ago, economy kind of went to the tank again. Our technology was subpar. I didn't keep innovating myself and reinventing myself. And that was my fault as a business owner. And things started going bad, real bad. To the point where I leveraged all of my credit cards, every credit line I had, emptied out every one of my bank accounts to the tune of about $450,000 in debt. Joe does payroll for us. I'm not ashamed to say this. So every time we would do payroll every 2 weeks, and this was up to as recently as, 3 years ago? And Joe would say, what do you want to make this week? And I said, well, I can't tell you what I'm going to get paid till I see what the payroll is. Okay, this is the payroll. Okay, put me down for nothing. How many times did I do that? For a year and a half, 2 years straight, I almost made nothing. I just kept living on credit lines, borrowing money I couldn't pay back. I don't even know why I did it. It made no sense. It was stupid. But I did it because I believed in myself and I didn't know what else to do. I didn't think I could work for somebody. I only knew one way to do things, and I said, I want to be in control of it. So as ridiculous as it was that I took that chance when people were telling me, why are you still running this? Just close it, go bankrupt, you can't do this. I was personally on the hook for all the money because nobody would lend me money on my corporation because the corporation was worthless. So I had to personally sign for everything. Luckily, I continued to keep going at it. Things started to change. Got back in touch with Eugene, who came back, spoke to him. I did deal with his company where he started providing us with a better technology. Took every last penny I had and put it into that and said, this is the last shot. I'm just swinging for the fences. I got to hit a grand slam here or the game's up, the gig is up. It was so bad that I wouldn't even tell my wife. I would come home each day and she'd be like, I'm not even going to ask you how your day was, because she knew that I just didn't want to relive it again. I was so depressed at the time when all this had happened that I had an $80,000 BMW. This is the time going back to when I had the $400,000 shares. I'd be driving 100 miles down the road on William Floyd Parkway. You want to know that road? You can go pretty fast. And I'd actually just turn my car into a tree because I felt if I died, my wife would get $1 million from our life insurance policy. And that's how despondent I was over what happened. And what's funny is probably Joe at work didn't realize a lot of that because I'm pretty keep it in, but internally I was a mess. Luckily, we changed our technology. I kept going. I never stopped. I never gave up. And then on top of it, we changed our lead sources. We started going after different lead sources, paying triple the amount that we should be paying for leads to get better quality leads. And guess what? In the last 5 years, things get, maybe even just 3.5 years, things have changed to the point where Joe's like, I can't believe it's this busy this quick. This is incredible. To give you an idea, 2014, I think we did about $400,000 in sales, which is not really very much, but it's an okay amount. In 2015, I think we did $1 million in sales. In 2016, we did $1.5 million in sales. And this month, Eric, he's got my quarterlies. I just brought my reports to him. We have an outside chance to hit $3 million in sales with about the same amount of sales force that we had. By not necessarily doing anything different, but being smarter, using your brain, innovating, listening to people. You don't know all the answers. So that's kind of how I've gotten to where I am today. And it's something that it's important that if you're going to run a business, you have to have guts that no one else has. You can't kind of want it, you have to really want it. So something else I wanted to go over with you guys. How did I do that? Was it luck? Well, I guess a little bit of it was lucky, but I don't necessarily believe in luck. I believe that if you work hard and you put yourself in good situations, lucky things happen. Do you ever have people that are always like, oh, I got lucky. The guy, Tom, he probably grew up with tons of money. He's just a lucky parents did. So they're just excuse makers. It doesn't matter where you come from. You have the same opportunity. It may be a harder road to get there, but you can do it if you really want to. So a lot of this is not just about making money and being successful. It's about what do you want to do with your life. And I don't necessarily consider myself very smart. I think I'm probably about of average intelligence if I had to guess. But I think what I have going for me that a lot of people don't have going for them is, ask Joe, my work ethic is no one will outwork me ever. The people that work for me, right? I'm usually the first one there, last one. It doesn't mean I don't like to have fun, because I need to have fun and I use that time to kind of get myself back on track. But I will never be outworked. I will never out-hustle. I will never be out-hustled. I will just keep grinding it out as much as I have to. And I don't mind doing anything to us, whether answering the phone, mopping the floor, cleaning up the mess Sam spilled on the floor yesterday. She actually cleaned it up, but that would have helped. Anything like that I don't mind doing, because it's all about the bigger cost. You can't be above any of that stuff. So it's not really luck. It's confidence, work ethic, and you have to also provide something that has a solution. Your program has to fit, why do we need this? Why do we need this? It just can't be, get my product because it's cheaper. You'll be out of business very quickly. Now, some things I want to go over with you guys. Did you ever guys have any questions on why I even started a business? Because I was insane, or? Okay, good. Now, I want to go over with you guys some things about school and what college does and does not teach you. To reference back to Joe, since we've been around so long, every day we have a situation come up. What do we say?
They didn't teach you that in business school.
No, we'll teach you this. Holy mackerel, where'd this come from? One of the biggest things I found, and I'm not sure if that's changed now because I've been out of college for a while, but every business class I went to, they were teaching me about working for a company that had like 1,000 people there, like GM. Well, I never worked for a company. Like everyone I worked for was like I was in charge, or there was someone else in charge. There was 2 people. We were mowing lawns. There was no CEO. There was no HR person. So they would say, oh, if there's a problem, just go to the HR person. Well, there is no HR. Well, am I going to go now? Oh, then just go over here. You know, you get the follow complaint. It wasn't like that. So I didn't understand why they were teaching me about everyone now. So many people work for small companies. And I don't know if the curriculum has changed. I don't know if they still do that, if they more concentrate on working for smaller companies. But that was one of the things that I'm like, man, what they told me business is like is nothing like what it's really like. So that was one thing. Also, I noticed that instead of being a business major, I should have been a psychologist major. Working with people, working with customers, how I speak with Joe is different than how I speak with John, Thomas, Sam, Eugene. I can maybe yell at one of them. I have to work a different way with somebody else. Being a psychologist in business or running your business is more important than your business acumen, in my opinion. In fact, I'm waiting for a school to give me an honorary doctorate in psychology because I've earned it. If you know what I've been through with people and the things that they've come through, you wouldn't believe the different stories and the crazy things that have happened that you have to somehow think on your feet. What's the solution to this? What's the answer? So take a lot of psychology classes. And number 3, communication. When I was in high school, when I was in college in Suffolk Community to get my degree, I think I had to take 1 public speaking class. This was my public speaking when I was there. I was so nervous. I was just reading off a thing like this because I was so afraid I didn't have the confidence to speak to people. Coming in today, I wasn't necessarily nervous, but I was anxious because I want to do a good job. But you have to learn to overcome those fears. If you're going to be successful in anything in life, not just in business, you're going to need to be able to communicate that to people verbally. 90% of your communication is verbal. Yes, you do need to know how to write. Yes, you need to know how to type. You need to know how to do all that stuff. But you need to be able to verbally communicate. If you can't do that, nobody will know how bright you are, and it won't matter. So take a lot of communications classes. Even if you don't need them, take them as electives. I know that it's, hey, I could easily take basket weaving. Don't do it. If you really want to get something out of this, and because you're here, I think that you do, take communications classes. I promise you it'll be on the debate team. Do something where you put yourself outside of your comfort zone. 3 or 4 people ask me, why are you doing this today? Why are you putting yourself in front of all these people? They're going to be looking at you. Aren't you nervous? Why would you? I like to live outside of my comfort zone because that's where I find the most success. If I just stay in my own little world and I'm not interested in doing something different, how am I ever going to grow as a person? I'll just be doing nothing. Now, a lot of people are very happy there, and I thought I was one of those people, but I found that I'm not. I found that I like to be put in situations which are difficult and that are hard, and maybe I can't do it, because that's how I'm going to learn to become a better person and more successful in everything I do in life, not just in business. Okay, I'm going to tell you 2 quick stories about running a business, and these are kind of ones that I think Joe knows both of them. We had this guy, I won't say his name, it was Naz. And Naz didn't show up to work one day. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I call Naz, no answer. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, guess he's not coming in today. Okay. Next morning, I'm in work. 8 a.m., I get a phone call. It's Naz. Hey, Tom, what's up? I just wanted to let you know something. I'm not going to make it in yesterday. I said, what do you mean you're not going to make it in yesterday? I swear to God, this happened to strike me dead. I'm not going to make it in yesterday. I go, oh, well, thanks for telling me. We didn't realize that once it was 5 o'clock and you never showed up. But thanks for calling me to tell me you're not going to make it in yesterday. So that was one of the craziest stories where if I had that recorded, I was looking for cameras. I couldn't believe that this was happening. So don't do that. The second one was this lady, and I'm not going to say her name, Karen, because I don't want to out her. Joe may know this story. He might know where I'm going with this. To get set it up, our office is on the 3rd floor, and we have a nice view of the parking lot. Every day that this girl, she was a big swimmer. Go to the gym every morning. Gotta swim. So she was a big swimmer, so she'd come back, her bathing suit would be wet, she didn't know where to put it. So every day she would put it up on a bush, like outside by her car. So this one day, she's looking out the window, she goes, I don't see my bathing suit. Where's my bathing suit? Couldn't find it. She goes out. You see her looking around. I guess what had happened is the maintenance guy fell on the ground. The maintenance guy throws garbage through the dumpster. Well, she didn't know that. She went out. We see her looking. Hi.
Hi.
You want to come say something?
No.
I used to hate when people did that. Just put you on the spot, like, oh my God, I'm late. So the maintenance person must have threw it in the garbage. So we see her outside looking around. She had to get this thing. Now we see her with a stick, and she's looking in the dumpster, and she's trying to get this. It's in the dumpster. It's in the garbage. She's trying to get a binge out of the garbage. Food in there. Trying to get now. At this point, the whole office is like, look, Karen. The whole office is like this. Phones went off. No work. I don't even know if we had camera phones. I don't know what's quick enough to think.
Yeah,
About.
no.
She's in there. She can't get it. She can't get it. She couldn't get it. So finally, what happens is we see her like starting to kind of get like this, and she's getting up there. All of a sudden, she disappears. She's in the dumpster. She's in the dumpster. 10 seconds later, we see her bathing suit come flying out, and then we see her climbing out of the dumpster. From that day forward, she was dumpster diver. We used to call her dumpster diver. I don't think we ever told her that. To the point to this day, even though she hasn't worked for me for a while, my kids will say, does dumpster diver still work for you? So those are just two kind of funny stories of things that happen in business. What I want to do is I want to also go over some best practices for success. In addition to those stories, everyone has a different definition of success. For Apple, was it when they released the iPhone? When the Cubs won the World Series, was that success for them? Was it when Fetty Wap released Trap Queen? It could be any of those different things. Who here has a definition of success to them? Anyone? What's success? Go ahead, Brandon.
More like growing as a person, really. Whether like it's like finding out new things or learning from the people and stuff like that. I think that's more success.
Well, there's not really a wrong answer because everyone's definition of success is different. John, what do you consider success?
Setting a goal and actually reaching it.
Okay. Anyone else? What's success to them? I'll show you. Go ahead.
When the Patriots win the Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah, that's a successful achievement. Well, what do you consider success for you? What would you like to do in your life that said, wow, I'm a success now because I did that?
Well, one of them was graduating from high school.
Okay, that's a success. That's a great success. Anyone else have a story of, go ahead.
Be happy.
Be happy. There's probably not much better than that because if you're happy in life, what else really matters? So everyone's definition of success is different. Some it's to make $100 million. Some it's to run a race. It could be anything. So you're correct. That's what success is. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story about what it takes to achieve success or how it is. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Eric Thomas?
Yeah.
Okay. He has a story that he tells about a young man. You may or may not know this story. And they lived in a small town, and there was this guy who was an older guy, who was very successful, very rich. Sam, do you know the story?
No.
Very rich, made a lot of money. And this young guy wanted to be successful. He said, sir, please tell me how you became so successful. I need to know what it takes to be successful. And the old man says, they called him Guru, because they was just called the Guru. This Guru says, you want to learn how to be successful, meet me at the beach tomorrow at 4 a.m. Be there and be sharp. Because this old man's crazy, but I want to be successful. I'm going to do what this guy says. Okay. Goes to the beach 4 a.m. tomorrow, decked out in a suit. Guru says, you ready to learn what it takes to be successful? Follow me. Follows him, takes him by the hand. They go to the edge of the water. Goes, okay, walk in to your waist. Walks into his waist. And the guy's like, Guru, what am I doing? I'm not here to be a lifeguard to get swimming lessons. I want to learn what it takes to be successful. I don't understand. Do you want to be successful or not? You came down here. You asked for my help. Do you want to know or you don't want to know? Okay, you want to walk again. Up to your shoulders now. The guy's like thinking, this guy's out of his mind. He makes a lot of money, but he's crazy. What does this have to do with anything? Starts to almost like stop. And he goes, I'm not gonna beg you to show you. I'm not gonna beg you to stay here. If you want to be successful, you came down here. Let's do this. So he comes. He goes, I want you to take 2 more steps in. Now the guy's already water's up to here. The guy comes in. I'm gonna comes in. He's about. Guru takes his head. He's pushing it underwater. The guy can't breathe. He's pushing him underwater, and the guy's struggling. He's kicking his head. Finally, he lets the guy up. What do you think that guy wanted to do more than anything when his head was underwater?
Be alive.
What? I heard somebody said the word.
Breathe. To
Breathe. When you want success as much as you want to breathe, you'll be successful. That was the lesson. So the idea is that a lot of people want success. They think they want it, but they only really kind of want it. they want it, but yeah, if I really have to do something, this is not for me. If you really want to be successful in life in anything you do, and this is not about making money, you have to be all in. You have to do whatever it takes. You cannot say quit, because when things get tough, it's just easy to walk away. And being successful is not easy. You have to put yourself in difficult situations. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So if you're saying, hey, I want to be successful, do you really have what it takes? Unfortunately, most people do not have what it takes to put that kind of effort in for success. I would say that there's two types of people, and Sam and I talk about this a lot. There's what we call A people and B people. A people are people who are leaders. They want to be out front. They want to put themselves in uncomfortable positions. They want to experience the world. They want to take chances and risks. Although they should be, smart chances and risks, they're interested in that. I think that's about 20% of people. The other 80% are what I call B people, who are just as important. Those are the people behind the scenes that are the good worker bees. They can execute what your goals are, but they really don't want to be that front person out in the front. Both people are equally important, but you have to decide which you are. And if you're a B person, there's nothing wrong with that. I always thought I was a B person growing up because I never had the confidence. Turns out I feel like I'm more of an A person. If you're a B person and you know that, then you can definitely work under a CEO and have great levels of success. If you want to be the one making all the decisions and have the guts and the glory, the high and the bad, then you're probably an A person. I'm not sure if you're born with it. I think sometimes you're just born with a certain way, but you can also develop it. You may not know which you are at this point. So that's something I want you guys to think about is, which are you? Which are you? Both are very essential, though. Okay. I want to give you guys some ideas about what it takes to be successful, and also another word I learned recently called mastery. Does anyone know the difference between success and mastery? Probably not, because I didn't know till yesterday. And it kind of totally blew up my thing what I was going to say. Success is completing something like this gentleman said, the New England Patriots won the Super Bowl. That's success. On Sunday, I did a triathlon. Yes, this old guy did a triathlon. I still have the ink on me. Somehow completing that task to me is considered success. Putting yourself in uncomfortable positions and succeeding at it. When you can continue to succeed over and over and over, now that's called mastery. Multiple successes. Success is a one-time thing. You don't want success, you want mastery. Because although we're mostly talking about success, in life you want to have that mastery, because then you're having success after success after success, and it just keeps going. Instead of just a one-time success where you're done. So that's the difference that I consider between success and mastery, and you want to try to have both. You want to keep succeeding in order to get your mastery down. Now, there's some things I had that are important that I think for success and mastery. Number one, you have to be fearless. Who here is fearless and will try anything? Okay. Geez, that's not that many people. John? No, you don't try anything. You have to be fearless and be willing to try anything, even if it makes you nervous. Most things you're going to get a lot out of are situations similar to speaking in front of people, which are a little bit nerve-wracking, but that's where you're going to get the most out of when you exit that comfort zone. Do you have that in you, or do you like to stay? I was like a lot of people in the back row when I went to school. I stayed in the back, hope nobody picked on me. I didn't want to get picked on. I didn't want to get called on. I just wanted to hide. Brandon's in the front. Brandon's like, I'm into it. So it depends on what your situation is. You have to know if you're fearless or not. That's important. You have to also, if you have employees, you have to build loyalty. What happens is if you try to motivate employees based on financial aspects only, that's going to fade quick. What I've been able to do, I think, and I have 5 people here, so either they're just brown-nosing me or they want to be here. I think I've been able to build a loyalty in my team where people want to do well for the company, not just because they're being paid well to do so, but because they want to push the company agenda forward. And I think a way that you do that is by listening to what they have to say, and I've made a conscious effort over the last year specifically to really empower the people that work for me. What do we need? They speak to the customers. I don't have all the answers. And you know what's funny? The more I listen to people, I realize how much little I really do know. I really know almost nothing. When you listen to these other people and you let them speak, how much information you can gain really can help you. So if you do that, I think John will attest to, I think most of our people at work are pretty loyal to me. I'm not worried that they're going to try to find another job. And if someone says they're looking for another job, and I know about it, I'm all for them bettering themselves, regardless of whether it's for me or not. So I think loyalty is huge. You want to be honest with your employees. That's obvious. It's not about taking every last penny for yourself. If you operate a business where your only goal is to make millions of dollars, you're gonna not do very well. you have to make sure that the people that you work for you believe that you're on their side. And to reference back to John, because he's in the sales department, John came to me just yesterday with a sale. Charge this guy $500 using the Diamond marketing package. I said, well, John, that doesn't really count as a sale because it's a marketing package, but I'm going to do this so you can make more money on it. Now, I went out of my way to basically give him more money because that was the right thing to do. By doing little things like that, people will believe in you. They'll know you're not out to screw them, because a lot of times in work, there's the boss where everyone hates them, and then there's everyone else. I don't think anyone looks at me as a boss at work. Sure, we have different job titles and different responsibilities, but I think they feel as me more as a coworker, and that's how I try to treat everybody that works with me. And if you can do that, I think that you'll have a great chance of being successful and also achieve mastery as well. Step out of your comfort zone. We spoke about that already. Have professional looking materials. If you're going to try to attract people and you want them to pay a premium price for your services, you have to have something that looks professional. In the last couple of years, between our websites being upgraded and Sam doing all of our creatives, our stuff is so top notch now that we're charging more than we ever probably thought we could. We're actually thinking of raising our prices just because we feel the value that we're delivering is there and people are willing to pay for it, and we've never been busier than we've been right now. So that's super important. You have to be able to learn to communicate, obviously. Communication is key. If you can't communicate and you're just going to be in your office with the door closed, my door is rarely closed unless I'm on the phone within a meeting. My door is always open. You have to have fun. Who goes to work and hates going to work? Doesn't that suck?
Yeah.
What's worse than going to work and you're like, oh man, I got to be at work in 10 minutes. I don't want to go there. I think my employees, I honestly do, on Monday morning when they have to go to work, I don't think they say, oh my God, I have to go to work to that place again. I don't think anyone says that.
I can't wait to get back into it where I left off.
Yep.
And then I always tell my clients when I'm talking to them and they get on board that they're going to be really busy because it's a fast-paced environment. You have to enjoy what you do. So I give the analogy, I come to work at 9 o'clock in the morning and 15 minutes later it's 6 o'clock at night. That's how fast the day goes by. I look at the clock and I'm like, no, stop the clock. And I don't want to go home.
We got to throw John out of the office half the time.
I'm not done.
Flashlights, one wants.
Yeah. So that's what you want. You want to work somewhere, whatever it is, whether you're making $10 an hour or $500 an hour. You want to work somewhere where you don't mind going there because you spend a big time of your life at work. So do something that you're passionate about, regardless of how much you make. Also giving back. Growing up in a childhood, as I explained to you guys, I didn't really have very much money for a good part of it. So I'm pretty interested, as the people that work for me know, in doing philanthropic things. My goal, or one of my ultimate goals, would be to more do that stuff, help other people, give back. Recently, we formed a website called MBV Gives Back, and the whole purpose of that is to try to pay it forward a little bit. If we're successful and you pay it forward and you can help others, if you're fortunate enough to do so, whether it doesn't even have to be money, it can be time, money, listening to them, you're going to have a good karma. And I really believe in good karma and energy. And what I find is the more good deeds that I do, the better things that happen for the company. We'll be doing something at work. We'll be doing a donation for a toy drive or whatever the case is. And we just did this. Next thing you know, sales are flying in because it's a good karma, it's a good energy. And I believe that if you're good to people and you're honest with them and you can give back when you can, it's going to come back. If you try to screw everyone in your way, you're going to burn bridges and it's going to come back to get you. So you want to have good karma, you want to give back as much as you can, to the point where sometimes Eric's like, how much did you, can we put this on the tax return? Do you have receipts for this stuff? I said I don't, but I can get them if I have to. So sometimes I'm starting to do a little better where I'm actually writing down what I'm giving as I'm giving so I have a better accounting view. So my books are pretty clean, but that part I'm just like, I don't remember. I gave to this or I gave to that. So
whatever you can do will help.
It will. A couple other things. You want to have confidence. We spoke about that. Communicating. You have to be willing to work as long as it takes. We spoke about that already. Also, listen to others, including self-help things. Some of these motivational people that you speak to, if you listen to them, even for 5 minutes in the morning, a TED Talk or something like, anyone know TED Talk here? You listen to TED Talk or something like that, you realize how motivational these people are and how on top of their game are you. And you really feel fantastic after listening. Your day just brightens up. Don't hang around with people who are negative or always complaining about what they can't do and how they don't have money and the world's against them. They're just looking for excuses. And the worst lies we tell are the ones we tell ourselves. So most people are in the situation they're in because of their own doing. Now, it doesn't mean everyone was granted with the same gifts to start, but what you make of what you have, is going to determine where you actually ultimately end up. So hang around people who are successful and that are going places. I try to surround myself with people who I can learn from, people who are doing better than me, people who have something positive to give me instead of some guy who's not working, he's lazy, he doesn't want to do his job, he's complaining about everything in life, everyone's against him, it's not his fault, he's a victim of society. You don't want to hang around with people like that. So try to learn and listen to others. Do something different and keep innovating. We spoke about that. If you keep reinventing yourself, when I told the story how we were doing okay, but I kind of fell asleep at the wheel and just kept providing the same websites, I didn't innovate, I didn't move with the times, and it almost put us out of business. Now we don't do that. As we release one thing, we released a new website a couple of years ago. The second that was released, we're already working on the next one. Sam and I do the creatives for the company, the get started guides, the brochures we give out, the websites that people see about our company, the content. As we're doing that, by the time we finish, we circle right back to the beginning and start again. You have to keep evolving, keep adding new programs. I estimate my business changes about 10 to 20% per year, which basically means in 5 years I'll be doing something different, kind of. We were initially a credit card company processing, now we're a technology company providing websites. You have to keep evolving and you can't stay stagnant or else you're going to become out of business and obsolete like the dinosaur that we spoke about earlier. Be a psychologist, we know that. Be willing to work for free like I did. I think it was 3.5 years ago, I filed my tax return. My net taxable income was 0. So things have changed a lot very quickly because I believed in myself and I stayed the course, and I knew that if I kept working hard, that eventually something would happen. But I had to keep taking chances and risks and push it to that limit. And this one is pretty important. You want to have a makeshift bar in the office. Maybe 2 of them, depending on your situation. Even if you don't use it, knowing that it's there is very helpful to get through the day sometimes. Sometimes it'll be 11 o'clock in the morning. Joe just got off a really bad support call. And Joe says, "Is it time to drink yet?" In fact, that was Joe's last raise. We put a bar in his office. But also, that's pretty much most of my ideas. I wanted to open up to any questions that you guys had for me or any advice that maybe I could give you. Somebody's got to have a question about something. I'm not that thorough. Go ahead.
When you view your competition, how do you see yourself differing from them so you're more successful?
The reason I think that we do a little bit better than a competition is, in my mind, we provide a more robust program than many. Now, the good thing is what we're actually offering to customers is kind of something we created. So we don't really have a direct competition. Yes, there's other businesses out there they can start. In addition, we also have live people answering the phones. I don't know if you've ever done something, you call place, press 1 for this, press 2 for this, put in your account number, press this, press that, hang on for the next person, it's 20 minutes. You finally get the person on the phone, and what do they say? What's your account number? Why did you enter all that information? Between normal business hours, if you call my office, somebody will always pick up the phone. We have live support. And I think that's where we differ a lot, and that's why we're able to charge more money. Sometimes people will say, hey, listen, this is really expensive, and I don't know. But you can't really provide the best programs and the best services and also at the cheapest price. We never want to be known as the cheapest. In fact, I'd rather charge a little extra because I feel my expertise is worthwhile. So I don't worry, not that I don't worry about the competition, we do watch what they do, but I think that if you're able to provide that kind of level of service, people are willing to pay for that. If you just look at the Apple, when they released the iPod, that wasn't the first one to market. The first one to market, I forget which one it was, but the people, I don't know if it was Samsung, whoever, they released it as an MP3 player. It was 4 gigs or whatever it cost. And it might have even been superior to the iPod. But what happened is Apple was able to they basically released almost a similar product. They weren't the first to market, but instead of saying MP3 and gigs and all this other, they said this thing holds 300 songs. That's all people had to know. They didn't need to know gigs and all that other stuff. So I think a lot of it is in the presentation and how you approach things will help you a lot. Someone else had a question here.
Yeah, speaking of presentation, how did you go about starting your promotion process? Because I know that a lot of businesses start online nowadays. And how did you begin to attract customers? You hand out flyers?
Well, what we initially did is, obviously we had to evolve a lot over time. Initially, most of our business was through direct mail pieces. But as the internet kind of evolved, then we were in a lot of magazines. We had full-page ads in magazines. Both of those things have kind of gone the way of the dinosaur now, where now 95% of our marketing is done through online, through different websites that promote similar services to us, things like that. So I think the best way, especially since we're a technology company, we're providing a technical kind of a service, we're going to find those people online. Where we used to advertise primarily through direct mail pieces and different publications, actually hardcover, like you'd find in Borders and stuff like that. So we've had to change a lot, but you have to, depending on who your audience is, you have to figure where you would go if you were looking for that type of product or service. And I think that kind of gives you a good idea. But one thing I do definitely recommend is try to do something a little bit different than everybody else. Have a different way or a different angle about it. Don't just keep saying the same thing. Oh, go with us, we're the cheapest. Go with us for that. Go for us this. If you can do things a little bit differently, you're going to stand out in everything.
To comment on your question, we do so many types of things like email blasts. We're on websites. We have profiles here. We're on social media.
Text marketing we
do so
start
much,
doing.
And we track our results for everything.
Right.
Every single thing is tracked. We know what works. We know what doesn't. And we don't stop. Like you said, we do, and then we come back and try something else. Make it different. Everything. Everything.
You have to try a lot of different things. Like recently we really got into doing text marketing, and it's starting to show results. We've been sticking with it. Text marketing doesn't go into emails where it goes to a spam folder. People see their texts. So people hit reply stop if they don't want anymore. But that's one of the different ways. So we keep evolving just as you would have to. When I first started business, there was no such thing as texting, so we've come a long way from there. You guys are actually in a different age where maybe in 10 years texting will be obsolete and you'll be doing, Snapchatting people. Well, I don't know.
But it's
I think
important to know your source.
did you have a question also?
When they come to you, where they come from.
No, Dave, someone else, was it you raising?
It was similar to what he was saying, because I want to open up a business.
What kind of business do you want to start?
I want to do taxes.
Taxes, okay.
Yeah, so I'm planning on doing taxes.
What do you charge?
I'm not sure.
I'm a good business, huh?
I don't need the competition.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how to approach it yet, but.
Well, you would want to think of different ways that accountants are finding different new clients. Whether it is you can probably go down and get a list of the new business filings and send them an email blast or a phone call or some type of direct mail piece saying, hey, look, you started a business, you're going to need an accountant, please call me. Something like that would be
Word
it.
of mouth goes a long way.
Word of mouth, yeah. For accounting, I got Eric through word of mouth. So with a business like that, I think a lot of it is going to be referral business also. Right? Unless you're H&R Block, I think a lot of it's going to be referral kind of business with that. But start small. If you get 2 or 3 people you're doing their returns and you get 4 or 5, then you're doing their corporate returns. News spreads quick for accountants because having a good accountant is very important. So news for that kind of stuff spreads pretty quickly. So I think that you won't have any problem.
I already have a couple of people that want to be on the
Give me your card.
start making
Did anyone else have some questions? Questions? Anyone learn anything? Go ahead.
I arrived late, but my question would be.
I'll start off.
If you want to do a project but you don't have a financial situation, how would you get funding?
Well, I only started with $100, so I didn't really have many things. It depends on what you're looking to do. I think if you were looking to start something, it would depend. Do you have a specific business in mind you're thinking of? Rental properties? I don't know much about the real estate business, but what I would maybe do is work for a real estate company or get involved in that, working for them first, find out how they do it, and then from there you probably have some better ideas. But real estate's not really my first thing. Someone else had a question? Go ahead.
Did you ever do any of your own accounting while you started your business?
I never did my own accounting. I'm one for leaving things like when people specialize in something, I'd rather them do it. I don't really want to be involved with the IRS.
When you were starting it, you hired one?
I always went to an accountant. Even if I was a 1099 employee, I would go to an accountant and have them do all that work. That was one thing, even as a youngster, even when I was 18, it was a simple online thing. I just knew that that wasn't really my forte. And what I figured is the amount of time for me to sit there and get the return right, I could actually do my business and make more money to cover that. So sometimes instead of doing those different tasks, I say, well, if I just do my business, I'll make more than enough to pay for the accountant. So I was a little bit of a different thing, but that was one area where anything with the IRS kind of scares me. I always tell Eric, I said, listen, if anything here looks off kilter, just tell me. He goes,
when you're starting it though, you had enough to pay?
Well, my business was so
Like,
small, the
would it be
accounting, it
hard?
just went on like my regular W-2 at the time. I was just a 1099 employee for a while, which technically is still your own business. But I always had somebody do it because even back then it wasn't that expensive. It was maybe $100 a month or something like that for somebody to do our books. We didn't write many checks. We were so small. So it wasn't really a daunting task. Somebody else had a question. Go ahead.
Yeah. At one point, did you decide to start, hiring staff? If
I
it's
s-
necessary?
I worked at an apartment first, then I moved to a house. I bought the house when I was 24 years old. I bought a house, and what I did is I first hired a childhood friend to stay in my house and answer the phones while I would be out on appointments, because I didn't want to miss those phone calls. And we always thought that would be very important. I don't want people to get a voicemail, because if they're calling me and saying, I want to give you money, and I give them a voicemail, am I going to be there for them after they give me the money? So to me, your initial impression of people is, if they're calling you and saying, hi, I'm interested in your services, please leave a message, call me back. So I had somebody that actually sat in my house, a friend of ours that I knew, that worked. He was the first employee that I had. Joe, I think, was the second employee that I had. So I started with friends and then kind of branched out from there. Someone else had a question, I saw. The back row has no questions. That's where I would have been. Go ahead, Bob.
Just a quick question, once you get this client, if it's not just a support issue, how often do you stay in touch with them?
Well, that's a good question. It's something I actually didn't bring up because I didn't know if I was going to have enough time. But about 4 years ago, we found another reason that I feel that we're successful and a choice for a lot of people over other companies is that we formed a company called MBV University. And we had a guy who used to work in our New York office named Kurt, who moved down to Atlanta. So we started an Atlanta office. But all of our Atlanta office does is provide training for our customers. Most of our packages today that people get, see, we build a person a website and we just say, here it is. They're really not going to know what to do. And what happens is 2 weeks later, they're like, I gave you $5,000 and I made no money. How come? Well, it's because you didn't do anything. You could have gave me $100,000. If you don't run your business, nothing ever happens. But to kind of change that a little bit, most of our packages now come with some type of a training one-on-one with our trainer where he'll set an appointment, call you. They'll do one-on-one training over the phone. You can see his computer. This is what you need to do to be successful. This is how you place orders. This is how you post on social media. We have a student portal where they have access to where they can go in and download all materials, watch recordings that we're always updating. So what we did, which was one of our best things that we ever did, is form this company called MBV University, which is not something that we make tons and tons of money on, but we're able to keep our customers happy and lower our attrition rate a lot. Something else we've also done recently, which we never really did, is we have a girl in our office now that calls all of our customers about a month after they're up and running. She's not in sales, so it's not the salesperson calling to sell them something. Hey, my name is Corinne. I'm from Quality Assurance. I want to make sure everything's okay. Do you need anything? Is there any problems? And if there's not, would you mind leaving us a positive review? When people look up your company, the first thing that they can do is Google your name. And if a lot of bad stuff comes up, they're not going to be happy. Unfortunately, in our business, the customer success mostly is predicated on how much work they do. But very rarely have we found a customer who it's been their fault. So once in a blue moon, someone could file a complaint or what have you. So we want, if there's one person who files a complaint, they might say 100 nice things about us. So we've been very active in hiring a public relations company to make sure that our online reputation stays as good as it can, which I think is also, it's expensive, but it's worthwhile. Somebody else had a question, I thought, that I saw one. All right, I know you guys have to go, so I just have 4 final quotes I want to go through with you real quick of things that kind of inspire me on the daily day. And I read most of these almost every day. First one, some of you guys may know this. I'd like to say Rule 76. Does anyone know what that means? Rule 76, no excuses, play like a champion. From Wedding Crashers. Anyone see Wedding Crashers? There's not much content in there in that movie, but it's something I took from that movie. They're at the wedding, he wants to leave. He's like, I gotta go, I got a stage 5 clinger. Rule 76, no excuses, play like a champion. That's number 1. Number 2, this one's important too. If your dreams do not scare you, they're not big enough. So if your dreams don't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. They should scare you. So that's something to keep in touch, keep in mind. Also, this is something that I also think about. Some people dream of success while others wake up and work hard at it. So are you just dreaming for success? Or are you going to wake up and actually make it happen? And the last one I have, a friend shared this with me recently. It's something I read every day before I start my day. And it's kind of my definition of success, which really has nothing to do with money, because ultimately success or mastery is not just about money, it's about life. And it's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it goes like this: to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, To leave the world a bit better, whether by healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. And I'll leave you guys there. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it.